Hana stood silently at the corner of the grand ballroom, her pale blue skin glowing softly against the dark marble walls. 500 years of captivity had taught her to be invisible, despite her natural luminescence. The weight of the golden collar around her neck reminded her of what she was to these people, not a person but a possession. The Dominion nobles drifted across the polished floor in their elaborate uniforms, laughing and plotting. Their tall scaled forms towered over her. Hana kept her eyes downcast, only watching through the reflection in the glass floors. Her master, Commander Kang, stood at the center of attention as usual. My Lumari has foreseen 3 more victories. This season, he boasted to the admirals gathered around him, the western planets will fall just as I predicted. Hana said nothing. Her visions had shown disaster, not victory, but Kang never wanted to hear bad news. The gift of foresight that made her people valuable was only appreciated when it told the Dominion what they wanted to hear. She adjusted her formal servant's robe, feeling the familiar emptiness inside. Once, the Lumari had been a proud race with cities that touched the clouds. Now, after the Great War, they were living artifacts kept as status symbols by the powerful. Hana was considered especially valuable for her strong visions, which was why she belonged to someone as important as Kang. The massive doors at the end of the hall swung open. The room fell silent as the guests everyone had been waiting for arrived. Humans. Hana lifted her gaze slightly, curious despite herself. She had never seen one before. They were smaller than she expected. While the Dominion warriors stood nearly 8 feet tall, these humans were closer to Hana's height. They lacked scales or luminescence, with their brown and pink skin looking strangely vulnerable. A woman led them. Unlike her companions in their formal clothes, she wore a simple dark uniform with silver markings on the shoulders. Her black hair was pulled back tightly, revealing a face that seemed both strong and sad. A thin scar ran along her jaw, and her eyes moved constantly, scanning the room like someone used to danger.
Captain Mina of the Earth Alliance, announced the Royal Herald, with diplomatic representatives from the human worlds. Commander Kang moved forward to greet them with practiced charm. Welcome to the heart of the Dominion. We have heard much
about humanity's rapid growth among the stars. Captain Mina bowed slightly. We are pleased to finally establish formal contact. The Alliance seeks peaceful relationships with all spacefaring nations. Hana watched the human carefully. There was something different about her, about all of them. They carried themselves differently than other visitors who came to curry favor with the Dominion. There was no fear in their posture, despite being surrounded by the most powerful empire in this part of the galaxy. As the formal greetings continued, Kang beckoned Hana forward. My personal oracle, he said proudly. A pure-blooded Lumari, over 5 centuries old. She advises me on all military matters. The human captain's eyes fixed on Hana, then moved to the collar around her neck. Something flashed across her face. Not the usual pity or disinterest, but a cold anger quickly hidden. I wasn't aware the Lumari served as advisors, Captain Mina said carefully. Kang laughed. They serve as whatever we require. For a moment, Hana's eyes met the humans. The connection was instant and unexpected, a recognition of something shared despite their different species. The captain gave her a nearly imperceptible nod before turning back to Kang. Later, as Hana poured drinks for the high table, she overheard snippets of conversation. Humans overthrew their own slavers centuries ago. An intelligence officer whispered to another. They're dangerous radicals. They're barely out of their solar system, his companion replied. What threat could they pose? As the night went on, Hana noticed Captain Mina watching her. Not with curiosity or disgust like most visitors, but with purpose. When Kang was distracted with another guest, the human approached her. How long have you been here? She asked quietly. 300 years with Commander Kang, Hana replied, keeping her voice low. 200 before that with his father. The captain's face hardened. Where I come from, we have a different word for what's happening. To you. Before Hana could respond, Kang returned. Captain Mina stepped away smoothly, but the moment had changed something inside Hana. For the first time in centuries, A forgotten feeling sparked in her chest. It felt dangerous. It felt like hope. Hana walked through the crystal gardens with Captain Mina the next morning. Commander Kang had ordered her to guide the human visitor and learn what she could. What he didn't know was that Hana felt more curious than she had in centuries. "These flowers are beautiful," said Captain Mina, stopping to examine a glowing blue blossom. "We have nothing like them on Earth." "They come from my homeworld," Hana replied softly. "The Dominion took samples before they destroyed most of the surface." Mina's expression darkened. "I've been reading about the Lumari in our database. Your people were renowned artists and philosophers before the invasion." Hana kept her face blank, aware of the garden guards watching from a distance. "The Dominion preserved what they found valuable." "Like people?" Mina asked, her voice low but intense. Hana changed the subject. "Tell me about humans. We hear so little of the outside galaxy." They walked deeper into the garden, where the tall, crystal formations provided some privacy from listening ears. Captain Mina spoke of Earth, of oceans and mountains, of a history filled with both war and peace. 300 years ago, humans were divided, she explained. Then the Axis powers came from beyond our system. They saw us as primitive and tried to enslave us. "But you defeated them," Hana said, remembering fragments of information she had overheard through the years. Mina nodded. "It took 50 years and united all Earth's nations. Since then, freedom has been our highest law. No human may own another thinking being." Something in her words made Hana's collar feel heavier than usual. She touched it unconsciously. "Does it hurt?" Mina asked, nodding toward the golden band. "Not physically," Hana answered before she could stop herself. For 3 days their walks continued. Each day Hana revealed a little more about her life, and Mina shared more about the human worlds. Hana learned about the Alliance of Free Planets, about human music and art, about their strange custom of voting for leaders. On the 4th day, Commander Kang summoned Hana to his private chambers. "What have you learned from the human?" he demanded. "They appear peaceful," Hana replied carefully. "Their technology is less advanced than ours." Kang smiled. "Good. Use your gift. Look into their future intentions." Hana closed her eyes, pretending to reach into her visions. In truth, she had been seeing flashes of the future since the humans arrived. Images of fire, of ships in battle, of broken collars. But these were not visions she would share. "I see uncertainty," she said. "They hope for trade, but they are cautious." Kang seemed satisfied. "Continue your assignment. Earn their trust." That evening, in a quiet corner of the diplomatic reception, Mina found a moment alone with Hana. "The negotiations aren't going well," the captain whispered. "Your commander Kang expects us to ignore how the Lumari are treated." Hana felt a flutter of fear. "You should be careful what you say to me." "Why? Will you report it to him?" "No," Hana admitted. "But it changes nothing. The Dominion has ruled this sector for 1,000 years. Mina leaned closer. "Everything changes eventually. The Alliance doesn't recognize Lumari as property. If you were to leave with us—" "Impossible," Hana interrupted, though her heart raced at the thought. "The collars have tracking devices. They would hunt us down." "There are ways around technology," Mina said. A server approached and they fell silent. When the server left, Mina changed topics smoothly, but her eyes held a question. Later that night, unable to sleep, Hana stood by the window of her small chamber. For centuries, she had accepted her fate, focused only on surviving. The arrival of these humans had awakened something dangerous, desire for change. She closed her eyes, allowing her true gift to flow through her. Most Lumari could glimpse probable futures, but Hana's ability went deeper. She saw branching paths, possibilities that shifted with each choice made. In that moment, she saw 2 clear paths: safety and continued servitude, or terrible risk with a chance of freedom. Both paths held pain. Only one held hope. The next morning, she found Mina in the garden earlier than usual. "If I were to leave," Hana said without preamble, "others would want to come too." Mina's face remained calm, but her eyes brightened. "How many?" "Dozens in this compound alone. Thousands across the empire." "That would be complicated." Hana took a deep breath. "I have information that might help. Defense codes, security rotations, things I've gathered over centuries." "Why tell me this now?" Mina asked. Hana looked up at the pale sky. "Because yesterday I had a vision of myself standing on the bridge of a starship, looking back at this world as it grew small in the distance." Mina smiled for the first time since they'd met. "Then let's make that vision come true, Commander." Kang slammed his fist against the control panel, making the holographic display flicker. The three Dominion generals facing him looked uncomfortable but said nothing. "The humans reject our terms. They dare question our traditions." His scaled face had darkened to a deep purple with rage. Hana stood in her usual place in the corner, trying to appear small and unimportant. For 7 days, the negotiations between the Dominion and the human delegation had grown increasingly tense. What had begun as a diplomatic mission was now on the verge of collapse. "They speak of sentient rights as if such a concept has any meaning in real politics," Kang continued. "These newcomers need to learn their place." "Perhaps a demonstration is in order," suggested General Suk, the oldest of the three. "Their ship is impressive, but no match for even one of our destroyers." Kang paced the room, his claws clicking against the stone floor. Yes, I think you're right. We'll allow them to depart, then seize their vessel before it reaches the jump point. A lesson in Dominion power." He turned suddenly to Hana. You've spent time with the human captain. Use your gift. Tell me their weaknesses." Hana kept her face empty of emotion. "The humans value their freedom above all else. They will fight rather than submit." "All species fight at first." Kang dismissed her warning with a wave. "They learn." After the generals left, Kang studied Hana with narrow eyes. "You've been different since the humans arrived. Distracted." "I serve as always, Master," she replied, using the title he preferred. "See that you do. I want you to attend their farewell dinner tonight. Watch them closely. If they suspect our plan, I want to know." That evening, the grand dining hall was set for the final diplomatic meal. Captain Mina and her team sat stiffly at the long table, their faces showing the strain of failed negotiations. Hana moved quietly among the servers, refilling drinks, invisible as always to most of the guests. When she reached Captain Mina, she leaned close on the pretense of pouring wine. "They plan to attack your ship after you leave," she whispered, barely moving her lips. "Kang will let you depart, then seize your vessel before you reach the jump point." Mina gave no sign of having heard, continuing her conversation with the diplomat beside her. But under the table, her hand briefly touched Hana's in acknowledgement. An hour later, as the dinner was ending, a royal messenger entered and approached Kang. After a whispered conversation, Kang's face twisted with fury. He looked directly at Hana across the room. "Guards, detain the Lumari." Everything happened at once. 2 guards seized Hana's arms. Captain Mina stood, her hand moving to her side where Hana knew she carried a concealed weapon. The other humans tensed, ready for conflict. "What is the meaning of this?" Mina demanded. Kang's voice was cold. "Your departure has been delayed. We've discovered unauthorized communications between your ship and certain elements within our palace." Hana realized what had happened. Someone had detected the small data crystal she had passed to one of Mina's team earlier that day, containing the Dominion fleet positions and security codes. "My oracle has been corrupted by your human ideas," Kang continued. "She will be corrected." "She is a person, not a tool to be repaired," Mina replied, her voice tight with controlled anger. "This matter does not concern you. You and your delegation will remain confined to your quarters until we complete our investigation." More guards entered the hall. The humans were outnumbered 5 to 1. Mina's eyes met Hana's across the room. A question. A decision. Hana gave a small, almost imperceptible shake of her head. Not now. Not yet. The captain seemed to understand. She slowly raised her hands in a gesture of compliance. We will cooperate, Commander, but know that the Alliance will consider any mistreatment of our delegation an act of war. As the humans were escorted out, Kang approached Hana. The guards forced her to her knees before him. 500 years of loyalty thrown away, he said quietly. For what? These weak aliens who cannot even protect themselves? They are stronger than you know, Hana replied. Kang studied her face. You've given them information, military secrets. Hana said nothing. Take her to the reclamation center, Kang ordered the guards. Full mind-wiping protocol. Save the gift, remove the personality. As they dragged her away, Hana closed her eyes and reached into the future once more. Through the branching paths of possibility, she saw fire and darkness. But beyond that, in some of the branches, she also saw light. One guard leaned close to her ear as they left the hall. The kitchen worker Tay sends a message, he whispered. The humans know what to do. Hana allowed herself a small smile as they led her away to her punishment. The cage was cracking. The reclamation center hummed with steady, quiet energy. In the lowest level, behind walls of sound-dampening material, Hana floated in a tank of clear liquid. Wires connected to the collar around her neck and to small points on her head. For 3 months, the machines had been slowly erasing her, piece by piece, memory by memory. Her eyes were open but saw nothing. The person called Hana was almost gone, leaving only the valuable parts, the gift of foresight, the knowledge of protocols, the trained responses to commands. The perfect servant, with no troublesome identity to get in the way. Above ground, the Dominion capital celebrated its annual Victory Festival. Thousands filled the streets, watching military parades and fireworks that honored the Empire's 1,000-year rule. Commander Kang stood on the high balcony of the central tower, enjoying his prestigious position beside the Emperor himself. No one noticed when the power in the southeast sector flickered briefly. The festival lights were too bright, the music too loud. In the shadows between buildings, 5 figures moved quickly. They wore the uniforms of maintenance workers, but they moved with the disciplined precision of soldiers. Captain Mina led them, her face now altered with subtle prosthetics that made her look like a common laborer. Security checkpoint ahead, whispered June, her communications specialist. 6 guards. Mina checked the small device on her wrist. We have 18 minutes until they notice the loop in their security feed. They didn't try to fight their way past the checkpoint. Instead, they used the stolen codes from Hana's data crystal to enter through a maintenance tunnel that ran beneath the main entrance. 3 months ago, they had been forced to leave without Hana. They would not leave without her again. In the control room of the reclamation center, a technician yawned as he monitored the status of the facility's 23 patients. The night shift during the festival was always quiet. He didn't notice when a tiny canister rolled under his desk and released a colorless, odorless gas. Seconds later, he was unconscious. Mina's team moved through the center, disabling cameras and subduing the skeleton staff on duty. Following the building plans Hana had provided, they made their way to the lowest level. Life signs are strong, June reported, checking his scanner as they approached the door marked with Dominion symbols for high-value asset. Stand back, ordered Mina. She placed a small device on the door lock. There was a soft hiss, and the door slid open. The room was dimly lit, dominated by the large tank in the center. Mina approached it slowly, her breath catching when she saw Hana floating inside, eyes vacant, body thin. Get her out, she ordered. Carefully. 2 team members operated the tank controls while Mina prepared the medical kit. As the liquid drained away, Hana remained standing but unresponsive, like a doll. Hana, Mina said softly, approaching her. Can you hear me? No response. The vacant eyes didn't even track movement. The mind wiping is at 70% completion, June reported, scanning her. But there's still brain activity in the protected regions. Mina carefully disconnected the wires from Hana's collar. She took a special tool from her pack and placed it against the golden band. There was a soft click, and for the first time in 5 centuries, the collar fell away from Hana's neck. "Hana, it's Mina. We've come to take you home." Still no response. Mina gently took Hana's hand. "Time's running out," warned another team member. "The patrols will change in 9 minutes." Mina ignored him, focusing entirely on Hana. "You showed me the garden where the blue flowers grow. You told me about seeing the stars change over centuries. You had a vision of standing on a starship bridge, remember?" Something flickered in Hana's empty eyes. A tiny spark. "The others," Hana whispered, her voice hoarse from months of silence. "There are more. We'll get them too," Mina promised. "All of them." As if those words had broken a dam, Hana blinked rapidly. Her hand tightened around Mina's. "You came back." "Of course I did." With Mina supporting her, Hana took her first steps as a free woman. Each movement seemed to bring more awareness back to her eyes. "There are 22 other Lumari here," she said, her voice growing stronger. "We can't leave them." "Your data." Crystal had the location of every holding cell, Mina replied with a smile. "My team is already releasing them." In the upper levels, alarms suddenly blared to life. Someone had discovered the unconscious guards. "Time to go," June said urgently. "The extraction point is 3 levels up." As they moved through the corridors, they joined with other team members leading small groups of dazed Lumari prisoners. Some could barely walk after years in the tanks. Others moved with growing strength, the fog of conditioning lifting from their minds. They reached the service elevator that would take them to the surface. As the doors began to close, heavy footsteps echoed down the corridor. "Stop." "Commander." Kang's voice thundered as he appeared with a squad of guards. His face contorted with rage when he saw Hana. "Return my property immediately." The elevator doors slid shut just as the guards opened fire. Hana looked at Mina, her eyes now clear and focused. "He will follow us." "Let him try," Mina replied. The human ship broke through the clouds, engines straining as it climbed toward space. In the cargo bay, 23 Lumari huddled together, many still weak from their long imprisonment. Medical staff moved among them, removing the last of the control devices, offering water and comfort. Hana stood on shaky legs beside Captain Mina on the bridge. Through the front viewport, she could see the stars becoming clearer as they left, the atmosphere behind. Freedom was so close she could almost touch it. "Captain, we have company," called out the pilot. 6 Dominion fighters on approach, destroyer class. On the main screen, the sleek black shapes of Dominion warships appeared, moving to surround them. "They're hailing us," said the communications officer. Mina nodded. "Put it through, Commander." Kang's face filled the screen, his scales flushed dark with anger. "Return what you have stolen, human, or be destroyed." "The Lumari are not property," Mina replied calmly. "They are coming with us to the Alliance, where they will be recognized as free citizens." "You have no right. We have every right," Mina interrupted. "Your own laws state that sentient beings cannot be owned. You simply refuse to acknowledge the Lumari as sentient." Kang's eyes narrowed. "You have 10 seconds to power down your engines. After that, we open fire." The screen went dark. Mina turned to her crew. "Battle stations, prepare for evasive maneuvers." Hana watched as the human crew moved with practiced efficiency. They were outnumbered and outgunned, yet they showed no fear. "There's no way we can outrun those ships," the pilot said, "and our shields won't hold against their weapons for long." Hana stepped forward. "Perhaps I can help." All eyes turned to her. "The Lumari gift is stronger than the Dominion ever knew," she explained. "We hid our true abilities for centuries. Together we may be able to confuse their targeting systems." Mina considered this. "What do you need?" "Bring the others to the bridge, and let me speak to their leaders." 5 minutes later, the Lumari survivors gathered in a circle on the bridge. Many were still weak, but determination shone in their eyes. Hana stood in the center, facing the view screen that once again showed Commander Kang. "This is your final warning. Kang said. Surrender or... No, Commander, Hana interrupted, her voice stronger than it had been in centuries. This is your final warning. Let us go in peace. Kang laughed. You have no power here, slave. I am not a slave, Hana replied. I never truly was. She looked at the other Lumari surrounding her. None of us were. As one, the Lumari joined. Hands. A soft blue glow began to emanate from their skin, growing brighter by the second. On the screen, Kang's expression shifted from contempt to uncertainty. What are you doing? Hana didn't answer. The light flowing from the Lumari grew so intense that the humans on the bridge had to shield their eyes. Outside, the Dominion ships suddenly began firing, but not at the human vessel. Their weapons targeted empty space, energy beams shooting in random directions. What's happening? Mina asked in amazement. We are showing them what they fear most, Hana explained, her voice strained with effort. Each gunner sees enemies where there are none. On the tactical display, the Dominion ships moved in confusion, some firing at each other, others pursuing phantom targets. Now, Hana said urgently. While they're distracted, Mina didn't hesitate. Maximum thrust. Head for the jump point. The ship surged forward, slipping through the chaotic formation of confused Dominion vessels. Behind them, Kang's destroyer fired repeatedly at a target that wasn't there. As they approached the jump point that would take them to Alliance space, the Lumari slowly lowered their hands. The glow faded, leaving them exhausted but triumphant. You did it, Mina said, looking at Hana with respect. We all did, Hana replied. She walked to the viewport and watched as the stars stretched into lines of light as they entered the jump. Behind them, the Dominion grew smaller, then vanished completely. 3 weeks later, Hana stood before the Alliance Council on Earth. Representatives from 100 worlds listened as she spoke of centuries of Dominion oppression. The evidence she provided, records stored in her perfect memory, could not be denied. The Lumari ask for sanctuary, she concluded, and eventually help to free our brothers and sisters who remain enslaved throughout Dominion space. The council chambers erupted in discussion. In the gallery, Captain Mina watched with pride. Later, on the observation deck of the Alliance headquarters, Hana and Mina stood side by side, looking up at the night sky. The Alliance has voted to grant asylum to all Lumari refugees, Mina told her, and they're forming a task force to address Dominion slavery. It's just the beginning, Hana said. The Dominion won't change easily. No empire does, Mina agreed, but change always comes eventually. She touched Hana's hand lightly. What do you see in our future? Hana smiled as she looked up at the stars, no longer distant points of light she could only observe from behind glass, but destinations she could now choose to visit. I see difficulty, she admitted. Battles to be fought, but also hope and freedom. Mina's hand closed around hers. Then we'll face it together. For the first time in 5 centuries, Hana felt truly alive. The cage that had seemed eternal was broken. Whatever came next, she would meet it not as property but as herself, free at last.